state of mind at the right time. Sporting success. The key part of sporting success is being in the right state of mind at the right time. And anchoring is the perfect technique to be able to do that. Anyone ever remember the rugby, the Johnny Wilkinson in the rugby? Okay, what did he do before he used to take a goal kick, Johnny Wilkinson?
You know about the hands?
Yeah, the hands, okay. So what he would do before he took a goal kick, he'd have his hands together, and that was a cue, a mental cue to be in the right state of mind at the right time. So regardless of what had gone on in the game, what he would do, hands together, mental cue to be in the right state at the right time. So he'd been battered and bruised in the game of rugby. He'd have thousands of fans at the stadium and around the world watching him on TV. When he had to take that goal kick, right state of mind, right time. Okay, and anchoring is a perfect technique where you might listen to a song and it takes you back to a time when you were away on holiday or a certain thing. What we do, you could drive past a school, and as you drive past, it makes you feel a certain way. We anchor through our senses: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and also smell and taste too. What we can do, which is great news, is we can do and fabricate an anchor. So if we need to be in a state of mind at a specific time, we can develop our own anchor, visual, auditory, kinesthetically. What we will do today is develop an anchor kinesthetically. Learn how to develop an anchor kinesthetically. So we will attach state of mind to a kinesthetic action, and by doing that regularly, that builds a neurological connection. Okay. So for example, some things I did with footballers: a wristband. I get a flick of the wristband, and get them to associate that flick of the wristband to a certain mental state like confidence. So every time I feel their confidence going in the game, I flick the wristband. Some performers, it could be thumb and finger. A cricket player I worked with a couple of seasons ago, it was the glove. Whenever he got to 40 runs, he said that what would happen to him, he got to 40 runs, and whenever he got to 40, for whatever reason, he said he'd give away his wicket. He wouldn't concentrate. And what I said to do is, what state of mind would be more productive for you from 40 to go on to 50 to 100? He said, well, this was my state of mind. And I said, well, let's anchor it to a physiological strategy, kinesthetic strategy. He did the glove, fasten the glove and open. That would be his anchor to be in that state of mind. So it's a powerful process. I've also done team anchors as well with a team. When I was working with a League 2 team, I suggested, well, I've worked with a few of them. This League 2 team specifically I was working with, they had the win, I think, was just doing every game, last 10 games, and they said, well, what can you bring in to the team? And I said, well, anchoring is one thing we can do. And what I did, I got them to anchor their best game of the season, which was an FA Cup game, to a team huddle. I said, every time you go in that team huddle, you're reflecting on what you did in that game. So the huddle, so sometimes you might see teams do huddles before a game. That is an anchor in itself. Okay, a state of mind, a team anchor, which can be quite powerful as well. The state that we need to be in to perform to the level we'd like to perform. And the key is to successful sporting performance is mental state. If we're in the right state of mind at the right time, we've got a better chance of succeeding, which is key, which is really important. I was working on sprinters a couple of years ago at a very, very high level, and I would get them to anchor. I actually got them to anchor auditory, a kinesthetic and auditory anchor. So the first anchor was they pressed thumb and finger together before they got down on the track, and then the gun going off was for them to be in a specific state of mind moving forward. And it had a very, very powerful effect, because if you're able to be in a certain state of mind at a certain time, then you've got a better chance of succeeding. And we use it for sport, we can use it for every area of our life, for business, for whatever else. I use the anchoring process. I do a lot of radio work, and whenever sometimes I've gone on very, very late at night, and you've got a whole day behind you, and to be in that right state of mind, specifically when you've got to take calls. Once I was on the program at 5 in the morning, and my time zones, as I travelled abroad and we're doing this show, was all over the place. So sometimes I'd barely get any sleep, and I was on this show at 5 in the morning, and I have callers phoning you and asking questions, and I would use the anchoring process to refocus on where and was the most productive place to be in that situation. So anchoring is an emotional stimulus, and if the emotional stimulus is powerful enough and attached to a specific action, whether it be auditory, kinesthetic or visual, then it can be recreated at any given period of time. There was an experiment done in the 60s, the Pavlov dog experiment, where they'd get food and they'd put some food out and they'd ring the bell and the dog would come out to eat, and then they took the food away and rang the bell anyway. The dog would still come out to eat because it associated ringing the bell to the food. So as human beings, we respond very similar to different actions in specific situations. So it can help with psychological demand. It can help to be in the right state of mind at the right time. The key thing is to work out what we want the anchor for. The key is, the two key areas are we going to develop an anchor for a specific event? Are we going to develop an anchor for a specific situation? And what anchor we're going to use, okay? So if we're preparing for a snooker tournament, or an athlete for a snooker tournament, aggression probably wouldn't be the best frame of mind for him to go in there, so we might decide relaxation, okay? Depending on what we're preparing the performer to do. Yet, by getting this technique right, we give ourselves a better chance. And the more we anchor, the more powerful it becomes. The more the association is developed towards that mental resource. What I will do is I'll demonstrate the technique with someone, and then we can break away and practice amongst ourselves 15 or so minutes each way to get an idea of how it works. I think the best way of learning is seeing a demonstration, actually practically doing the application. Okay. And then by doing that, we can get a really powerful insight in terms of how the anchor works. Okay, so the key is to make sure that your client, your team, your performer visualizes and recreates an emotional intensity that is so powerful that when they do their kinesthetic association, when they're faced with a situation where they need to access that resource, it can happen fairly quickly. There are a number of things in sport that can knock our confidence. You could be a striker who misses 3 or 4 goals. You might come out to do a performance. It might not go the way you want it to go. Your training might not be, or preparation might not be the best possible preparation into an event, and you need to be game on. You need to be bang on. You haven't got time to sort of like reflect on things. And one of the reasons why sports people really love this technique is because it's a quick way of getting in the right state of mind at the right time. Okay, so you can share it with us if you want. You don't have to if you don't want, okay? So it's up to you. I'll leave that to you if you want to share it with us. It can be content free.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You want to keep it content free?
No, I can share it.
What is it? Anything?
It's the event I'm doing.
Okay, the event you're doing. Is there a specific time or date when the event is on?
I've not got a specific date or time yet. Like about a month or 2 months.
Okay. The more specific we are, the better it is, because we can work with it. Yeah, that's it. We can still anchor a resource without being specific at the time and day. So the situation is an event. Okay, an event. What will you be doing at the event? Presenting at the event. How many people?
About 50.
50 people. Okay. Okay. So you presented the 50 people at this event. Okay. Identify a resource that you want. What resource do you want, David?
Probably calm.
You want to be calm. Okay. And that's key. We want to make sure we know specifically what resource you want. Ask the client, ask the performer, ask the athlete what resource they want to have in that situation. So David's identifying being calm in that situation is appropriate. And what we do, and the one way we check if it's appropriate, if you could have that now, would that be the right resource?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just double checking if that's the right resource and just reflect on that. Now what we're going to do is, ideally, if the client can find a time in the same context in their own life where they experience that, great, we'll run with that. Okay, ideally, if David is being calm in a similar situation at some stage in his life, we'll reflect on that because he's got a reference point. If he hasn't, then we'll look for a time he's had that resource in a different context. If he hasn't had it in a different context, the nearest thing to that. If he hasn't had the nearest thing to that, then we'll identify somebody he knows that has that. So there's no get out clause here. Okay? Is there a time you've had that in a similar situation?
Probably just before I go to bed.
Okay, before you go to bed. So is there a time when you felt calm delivering a talk to 50 people?
No, not really.
Okay, so
I'm always like intense.
Okay, this time you want to be calm.
Yeah, just relaxed a bit more.
More relaxed, and a time where you feel really relaxed before you go to bed.
Or probably when I'm just driving, I'm not really thinking about anything.
Okay, sure. Things are in flight. So that mental state. So you, in your own mind, the times when you're in that mental state is when you're driving or not thinking about anything.
Yeah, or just walking really.
Okay, fine. So we've got times that you can sort of associate to when he feels that way. Maybe not in the context that we would like it to be, delivering a talk to 50 people. Yet in saying that, we've found the time that he's got that mental state. I'm glad he didn't say when he was fast asleep or just after he's gone to bed. Then we would have had a bit of a problem delivering the talk. But there we go. We're going to decide on an anchor that works for you. Okay, so it can be thumb and finger. You can use your watch, unfasten it, fasten it, whatever you want to run with. Is there a discrete thing you want to do?
Yeah, just move my watch.
Okay,
like that, really.
okay, and that's your cue to be bang on. Okay, so just like the Wilkinson situation, thumb hands together, or that's his cue to be nailed on. So we want to decide on the cue. Then having done that, I'm going to get David to use his mind to connect to a time when he did that resource. As soon as he connects to that time, I'm going to get him to hold his anchor to the point where the intensity on a scale of 1 to 10 is at 9.9, then he releases. So he's holding for about 3 to 5 seconds. And then what will happen, having done that 3 or 4 times, he'll start getting a neurological connection between that action and that thought process. Just like we do if you had an experience listening to a song, or if someone's tapped you on the back, for example, and said, well done, then we're anchored to those emotions, okay? To do that, I'm going to get you to close your eyes. Because by David closing his eyes, he can get into a relaxed state to access those resources, and also he can block out any other distractions of the conscious mind, so we can pretty much bypass that into the unconscious mind. So really relax, let yourself go, big breath in, and I want you to find a time in your life where you had that calmness, okay? Find a time in your life where you had that calmness. And as soon as you find a time in your life where you had that calmness, just give me a nod. Okay? I want you to notice what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt. Okay? The colours of the people around you, any coloured clothes they had, what colours you had, what you felt, where the feelings were, what you heard, what you said. Okay? Really imagine being there in the here and now. You're in the here. You're experiencing that situation as you would do in the here and now, okay? And really associate to that experience in the here and now. Once you begin to experience that, I want you to hold your anchor and let that experience intensify itself until we get to 9.9 on the scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being high, okay? So once you connect, really associate to it, really experiencing it, see what you see, heard, felt, and as we get to 9.9, just release and come back to the here and now. Okay? Okay, now gradually coming back.
Okay.
Were you able to connect with the experience? Were you able to intensify it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to run you through that experience. What we'll normally do as well in between is break state, because we don't want the client to carry on those emotions through the next phase. And one of the ways I get my clients to break state is to break their thought process. I'll get them to to think of their mobile phone number backwards, and that sort of unscrambles their mind, so they're not carrying that emotion through again. We're going to do it 2 more times, okay? We're going to see if it's working. So same again, close your eyes, really relax, okay? And I want you to once again re-experience that resource that you've got, okay? Re-experience it. Once you re-experience that situation, press your anchor and hold as the experience intensifies. Notice what you saw, heard, felt, where the feelings are, pressing your anchor, okay? And letting the experiences intensify themselves. And gradually release. Okay, were you able to get through that? There we go. Okay, we're going to go through that one more time. Okay, we're breaking state again, phone number backwards. Let's go again. Let's get back into that state. Re-experience that time when you were calm. Notice where you were, what was going on. As soon as you reconnect to that experience, just hold your anchor. Okay, and let the experience intensify itself until we're on a scale of 9.9 out of 10. Notice what you saw, heard, felt, and just release. Okay, and gradually come back into here and now. One of the ways to test it is by reality, going out there and doing what's got to be done and seeing if it works. Another way to test things before we go out there in the big wide world is what we call future pacing, by getting the client to imagine the situation they're going to be in, and by pressing their anchor. I want you to close your eyes again, David. I want you to future pace now. I want you to imagine when the talk is on. Okay, imagine where you'll be, who'll be there, and you standing up, being on this talk. Okay. As soon as you imagine getting up in the morning, making your way to deliver this presentation. So you stand up, it's your time to give the presentation. Notice all the faces in the room. You notice all the colours, all the sounds and everything that's going on. And you stand up to deliver the talk. Just press your anchor. Okay. Okay, just notice if those feelings of calmness come through. And just gradually come back into here and now. Okay. Is there neurological?
Yeah, like it wasn't. I wasn't really seeing sleep or anything like that. It was actually in the beach.
Okay.
And
okay.
When the intensity went to the highest, the sun was hit my eyes.
Okay. So when it came to sort of delivering the talk, by pressing that, were you able to access those?
Yeah.
Okay. By holding the anchor, you're able to access
yeah,
those.
just moving it really.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So there's a neurological connection to moving the watch to that thought process developing.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Thanks. The more we do that, the more effective it becomes. Even one time can be powerful enough to start building that emotional attachment. The more we do it, the more powerful it becomes. So if you're working with individual performers, you can take them through that in a short frame of time and get them to go away and practice it as well, so they develop a strong mental cue. Okay. If you're working with a team huddle, great way for them to get together. Probably see a lot of teams doing the team huddle now. They're anchoring a certain level of performance, which is quite useful and quite powerful as well. I work with a few performers that I've worked with have said that this made a massive difference in their career, massive difference in their own words and not mine. They felt by doing this process, it was pretty much the difference that made a difference for them. They were able to rebound and bounce back, fairly quickly into mental state. By being able to have almost like a light switch, you can switch it on and off fairly quickly. Any questions on the anchoring on the process? Anyone got any questions on the process?
Do you ever do it with anyone and it just doesn't work? They just say, I can't do it.
Okay. In what way, Colin?
Saying that they can't draw on some experience or some more positive thing.
Okay.
Or they're reluctant to do it for whatever reason. Okay.
Okay. So the first one was they struggled to. The first question was
to draw down a positive
experience.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I had a situation once where I was doing a demonstration, and I guess it's always the case when you do a demonstration to a massive audience. There's probably about say over 100 people in this demonstration I was doing. and I asked someone to come up to go through the process, and I went through the process, and the state they wanted to be in was confidence, and it was confidence to deliver a presentation. Okay, so the first thing I said is that, have you ever been confident doing a presentation? No, I haven't. The next thing I said, have you ever been confident doing anything in life? I said, well, not really. And I said, well, is there anybody that you know who has confidence? Well, I'm not sure. And then I said, okay, tell me 2 or 3 things that you can do or have done in the past. And I said, well, I can drive, I finished my degree, and they gave me a list of things that they've done in the past. I said, well, you must have had a degree of confidence to have done that at some point, or you wouldn't have got through. You wouldn't have submitted an assignment. You wouldn't have gone for your driving test. So it's their interpretation of what confidence is as well. So you will get that from time to time, people, and it's just drawing as far as you can. In my situation, it happened in front of a lot of people, really, but eventually we got there. Okay, and there are, and you are right, sometimes people will come through the door and they'll find it hard to build an association, but we're working with them, but we're on their team. We want them to have the best possible chance to succeed, and it's reassuring them that that's what we want to do. The second part of your question was some people who are reluctant to do that. That's personal choice. That's up to them, really. If they're happy with the results they're getting, then the road is long. You know, carry on doing the same. If they want to change and they want to improve, then you've got a technique that can help them move forward. And you will get people sometimes that feel that maybe they're finding it to draw on something, but we can help them do that. Or maybe they're reluctant to do the actual exercise or technique for one reason or the other. Very far and few in between, because most people who want to improve their performance are open-minded about what can work. A lot of the time, for a lot of people who've done this technique who've sort of thought, well, I'm not so sure it's for me, will come back and say, I actually do this already. I do this at some point already, and they'll come back and realise that they do the anchoring process in their own way, but by actually going through the process, they can be more consistent. They'll say, well, actually, I remember doing that. There was a time when I did that, when I was playing squash, for example, and every time I'm behind by 2 or 3 points, or whenever we're losing a game, or the opposition's got the first goal, there's something I do. A cricket player once I worked with said that he was doing it already by moving his 5-pad, but by knowing, then it becomes an awareness, and they can be more consistent. But I guess to answer your question, if for whatever reason someone is finding it difficult to draw on it, use as many examples as you can, and find as many opportunities you can for them to understand the resource and experience the resource. If there is that reluctance there for one reason or the other, then it's up to them, really. I think that you can only put the ball, with all these techniques that we've covered today, you can only put the ball in someone else's court. That's all you can do. Whether they play ball or they hit it back is up to them. All we're doing, we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's not rocket science, really. All we're doing is modelling what works. And throughout today, you're probably thinking to yourself, actually, a lot of these things I do already. Or a coach I know is doing it already. Or someone I knew that was very good at their job is doing it already. It's just formalising it. And if you formalise it and you package it, you're literally putting it into a bottle, and you can use it as and when you want to build that consistency and to improve your game and to take your game to that next level. And this could be the difference that makes the difference. This could be the difference between a cyclist preparing for an event who turns up, who has got some bad news on their way to the track in the morning and struggling to focus and refocus, and just going out there carrying mental baggage that's not going to help them get to what they want to get to, or getting back in that zone, doing what they've got to do at hand and dealing with the issue afterwards, or box or a football or whatever we do, or presentation. It could be the difference. It could be the difference between David going out delivering his presentation, feeling a little bit edgy and not getting his desired result, or feeling that calm and serenity that he feels is going to get that message across and coming across that way. But we've got all the resources we need in here. We all have. We were all born with pretty much the same brain. There's not a lot of difference between our wiring. situations we've been in. And if you're lucky enough to have the right subjective experiences through coaching, through the people who nurtured you and whatever else, then great. If you haven't had so, then here's a series of techniques that can help you bridge that gap and give you a better fighting chance. Okay, so if we give it a bash, 10 minutes or so each way, and it's the last technique of today, and then we'll just come in and wrap up and go from there. Good.